Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things we have got to get into. There's a lot of developing information. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get on last night. By the time I was able to get in here and even do anything, it was very, very late in the evening. So I figured, you know what? I'll do this in the morning, give you guys some updates on what's going on, do a quick one today, and hopefully be back on a little bit later on this evening to give you guys some more updates revolving around this situation. We got a lot of things going on. There's a lot to talk about. There's other things that are going on from the other trial, the trial that we just got done with. I know there's still Diddy hangover going on, okay? But there's still a whole lot of updates revolving around that. I'm trying to find some time to cover those things as well, so get ready. There's going to be a tidal wave of content coming to you guys very soon, whether it's live, whether it is a pre-recorded video. Regardless, they are going to be coming to you guys very soon. So please do me a favor, okay? Most important, hit that like button down below, okay? Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. We're streaming or updating, throwing videos on all of those platforms. So make sure you're either following, liking the page, whatever the heck you need to do to show some love and some support. Follow those platforms, please and thank you. Okay. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel if you're watching here. Okay, it's the main spot. All right, please and thank you. Go over to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Go check that out. We got a lot of content coming in this coming week. So make sure you are subscribed over there. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because a lot of times it's random or it's breaking news like these kinds of situations. So make sure you're doing that. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. Check out my Patreon, check out my locals, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we have got to get into this. Like I said, it's going to be a brief show. Unfortunately, this weekend has been a very busy one, very active weekend, okay? A lot of things going on. But, of course, I didn't want to leave you guys, empty-handed without giving you guys some information about what's going on in Texas right now, in central Texas area. If you don't already know, there were massive floods going throughout central Texas, which has been absolutely insane, okay? When we were on yesterday, it was about 27 people that lost their lives, okay? Now that is basically doubled in size, okay? And I said that before, that I have a feeling that the toll of people, lost souls, is going to rise. I hate to be that person, but unfortunately, a flood of this magnitude, okay? Let's just be completely real. A flood of this magnitude, you kind of have to throw in a little bit of reality. Yes, you can still keep hope in there, and you hope that it just stays at where it is, the number where it is now. But unfortunately, I feel like it is going to go up a tiny bit more as well. So we'll see what's going on here. But again, this is some terrible information. We do have some updates revolving around the Camp Mystic girls. From my understanding, some have been rescued, but not all. Okay. Some apparently have also, they've also identified and confirmed some of the girls have lost their lives. So, of course, there are some updates revolving around that. We're going to talk about all that and then some. Like I said, a lot of things happened over the last 24 hours since the last time we were live. I mean, less than 24 hours ago, 22 hours ago or so. Okay, I was on around like 11 a.m. yesterday, And so again, it's 9 right now. So yeah, about 22 hours ago, we did some updates revolving around this, and there was 27 people lost their lives, and now it has passed 50. Yes, that is not a joke. This is not a drill, everybody. 50 have lost their lives. Again, and there's still multitudes of people still missing. Okay. Like I said in the title, there is a desperate search and rescue that is going on. Okay. They're still trying to find as many people as they can. It is absolutely disturbing, heartbreaking, etc. A lot of people are either very, very thankful or very, very devastated right now for a multitude of different reasons. This is a very sad and terrifying situation. Okay. I mean, this was the flood of the century. Okay. This is something that, yeah, this was unexpected. Let's just say that. Okay. But Mimi, thank you so much for the sticker. Super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Okay. But again, this is really, really bad, guys. Real talk. This is really, really bad. So let's take a look at some of this. Okay. We got a bunch of updates, which we're going to get into. Okay. So Greg Abbott, okay. Governor Abbott, okay, of Texas, said that he had visited Camp Mystic, where 24 girls were staying near the Guadalupe River, where they were, of course, reported missing in the floods. Abbott said in a social media post that the all girls camp and the river had been horrendously ravaged in ways unlike I've seen in any natural disaster, and that rushing waters had reached to the tops of these actual cabins. Okay. We won't stop until we find every girl who was in those cabins. And again, like I said, there's still people trying to find. People are going. They're literally. They are stopping at nothing to try to find these girls, but they haven't really been that lucky. Like I said, some have been found. That's from what I'm gathering, but some have been found. Some have been found and rescued. Some have been found and recovered. Okay, and some are still. A lot of them are still missing right now as we speak. Okay. Is absolutely crazy. The flooding threat from slow-moving thunderstorms in central Texas is expected to continue overnight. Okay, so this is still today. This was reported today, or probably very late night, very early morning. Okay, 6 million people there remain under flood watches until Sunday afternoon or evening. So the rain is still going to keep pouring down, which is insane, guys. This is absolutely insane. An additional 2 to 4 inches of rain are possible across the hill country, with pockets up to 10 inches. An excess runoff may cause flash flooding in low-lying areas. This is what the National Weather Center, or National Weather Service, has said. Okay, and remember yesterday they were trying to, point fingers. Everybody trying to point fingers at everybody else. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. I really think that this is Mother Nature. It's Mother Nature's fault. Okay, Mother Nature mad for whatever reason. She mad. And she's definitely made her presence known. Okay. We know she in her fifis right now. She mad. Okay. So this is insane. But yeah, like I said, they've been pointing blame at everybody. Okay. Over a natural disaster. But then from my understanding, there are things like funding, et cetera, that has been cut out or has been cut off, or, funding that has been cut for specific organizations and all that, which obviously is, the main conversation, or one of the conversations that people are having out here in these streets, especially right when the funding for specific organizations have been cut, this natural disaster happens, right? So a lot of people are are talking about that a lot as well. But we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about what's going on here and bringing awareness and giving you guys updates about what's going on. Okay. Yeah, this is crazy. So forecasters at the National Weather Center office for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas warned that further rounds of heavy rain were expected on Sunday, worsening ongoing flooding and likely causing new floods. So again, guys, yikes. This rain ain't letting up, y'all. And for some odd reason, the rain is only going on in central Texas. It's insane. Okay, so up to 4 inches of rain was expected, and isolated totals up to 10 inches. The heaviest rain were expected over the Hill County to the I-35 corridor. Okay, so a meteorologist at the office said that any additional rainfall could exacerbate flooding in already hard-hit areas of Texas. So it's not even done yet. Okay, we're kind of saturated now, he said. So any additional amounts, even if we don't get up to 10 inches, could still cause flooding. He also added that further rain was expected in the region through Thursday. This is insane. Or sorry, through Tuesday. I'm sorry. Through Tuesday. That is absolutely insane. Okay. So we've got another update here too. This is okay. So near the bank of Guadalupe River in Ingram, Texas, volunteers prepared horses to help search and rescue efforts, all right, in the areas that are difficult for vehicles to access. I mean, like I said, this ain't stopping, y'all. This ain't stopping anytime soon. Let's take a look at this here too. Mom recalls daughter's rescue amid flooding at Camp Mystic. Okay, says staff should have been on top of it. So staff should have been on top of this situation. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is like that Camp Mystic should be to blame for this flooding, for this flash flood, or no? Comment, let me know. Because I mean, you know, this is one of the moms is saying this, right? Just something to think about. Something to discuss. I feel like this is a flash flood. How would they know? You know? If this was a unprovoked, unexpected flash flood, should the staff be blamed for something like this? Think about it. So a mother is recalling her two daughters' rescue amid the catastrophic flooding that occurred at a Christian girls only or all girls Christian summer camp in Texas. Okay, as several other campers remain missing. So speaking with the New York Times, this mother, okay, said her daughters, ages 9 and 12, haven't shared a lot about what they experienced on Friday, July 4th, before they were reunited with their mom after being rescued amid flooding at Camp Mystic, where nearly 24 girls remain unaccounted for. Okay. So, so of course they're saying during the press conference that 23 girls out of the 750 were missing from the camp near the Guadalupe River following the flooding. Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha, hopefully I'm saying his last name correctly, has since said that officials have recovered 27 total bodies across the area, but this is old because now they have now the total has gone up to 52, just so you know, okay? Over 850 people, meanwhile, have been evacuated or rescued from the area. So let's continue on here, though. The mother also told the outlet that her daughters were in two different sections of the camp when those on site had to search for higher ground to avoid the floods. With her younger daughter in the area called the Flats and her older child at Senior Hill, she told the Times that her girls came down when the water receded, and then they made it up to they made it to one of the buildings that wasn't flooded anymore. They were up there for a couple of hours. This is what the mother said about her kids' experience. After the mother was informed that her daughters were accounted for earlier in the day, she eventually reunited with them when they were taken to an elementary school in Ingram, okay, for this basically a reunification center for campers and parents, right? While her girls appeared happy when reuniting with their mom, she told the Times that she wasn't sure how the tragedy will impact them. There still are campers missing, she said. Okay, among those reported missing, of course, we already know about the ones that they've mentioned before, which is Hadley Hannah, Eloise Peck, Leila Bonner. Okay, but like I said, there are 20. Well, they're saying 23. We've heard 27 kids that are missing. Okay, and I mean, all their names should be out here, right? It should be 23 to 27 names, not just the 5, right? We should know all their names at this point, okay? So, Governor Abbott said in a statement on the 4th of July that the state is providing all necessary resources to Kerrville, Ingram, Hunt, and the entire Texas Hill Country dealing with these devastating floods. Tonight, he says, I signed a disaster declaration to ensure local officials have the resources to continue to respond to floods in Hill Country. Texas will stop at nothing to ensure every missing person is fully accounted for. Okay. So let's see, continuing on. So of course, and tragic incidents like this affect us all. The community is strong and will continue to pull together during this tragic time. We have been humbled by the outpouring of support. We are very appreciative of everyone that stepped up to help us. Yeah, this is crazy, guys. And it's only going to get, I mean, I'm hoping things start to change very, very soon. But like I said, this is all just really, really bad. We do have some confirmations on some of the missing Camp Mystic girls. So I'm going to play this video real quick, guys.
We are continuing to cover the developments out of Central Texas. Let's give you a rundown now of what we know as of this hour. Local officials in Kerr County in the Texas Hill Country now tell us 43 people have been killed by the deadly flooding, 28 of which are adults, 15 children. Dozens remain missing, including young girls who were at the Christian summer camp known as Camp Mystic, and several of them are from North Texas. Our special coverage continues right now. Our own Peyton Yeager is live tonight from the hardest hit area. Peyton.
Hi, Casey. And all day today, we are learning more about these victims, specifically the Camp Mystic girls. I've been back and forth with their parents over the last 24 hours in communication. It's been absolutely excruciating. Many of them making the trip or trying to get here to Kerr County as soon as possible. We know that more than a dozen of these Camp Mystic girls are still missing this evening. We're going to show you some. Tragically today, some of these families received heartbreaking updates. Best friends Leila Bonner and Eloise Peck did not survive the floodwaters. The two best friends from Dallas came to Camp Mystic together.
So now we do have confirmation they found these girls, but it was not a rescue, it was a recovery. So heartbreaking information, but I do want to give you guys some updates because obviously there are more than just the 5 or 6 girls that they've been mentioning in the news quite a bit. There are 20 plus kids that are missing, 20 plus girls that are missing. So again, these are some of the names that these 2 girls' names were mentioned throughout all kinds of articles talking about this specific situation. They have confirmed that they have found them and that they are no longer with us, just so you guys know. All right, just giving you guys an update.
They were both going into the 3rd grade at Bradfield Elementary and Highland Park ISD. We know Highland Park, that community, and also University Park, deeply hurting tonight. A 9-year-old Janie Hunt of Dallas also died. Her family confirmed to Fox 4 today. Also, I've been in contact with the Harbor family of Dallas. The Harbor say sisters Brooke and Blair Harbor did not survive. The 2 attended St. Rita Catholic in Dallas. The 2 sisters were staying with their grandparents, Mike Harbor and his wife, Charlene. The grandparents are still missing this evening. The Harbors are also here tonight in Kerr County. The Brake family from Burleson tells us Joni and Robert Brake are still unaccounted for. They were last seen at an RV park in Ingram. We visited that RV park today. It was completely wiped out. And there are so many stories familiar and similar to these that we are hearing from the disaster zone. I know I mentioned this at the top of the hour, but we still have parents who are one town over at Ingram Elementary who are now waiting for a second night, hopefully to be briefed with information in the morning. You have volunteers and police officers just walking up and down the Guadalupe River, hoping to just find anything and report it to first responders. Casey?
Peyton, I'm wondering, is there a curfew that you're aware of? A lot of times with these zones, they try to keep people inside at night. Is there any activity? Are there people out on the roads where you are? I know power's out in a lot of the area.
Some areas, I have not personally heard of a curfew, but we are being told by officials and Governor Greg Abbott, please do not come down near this area, the Guadalupe River. I mean, there's still all hands on deck, first responders, heavy machinery is here, and it's going to take some time to find some closure for some of these victims.
Again, I obviously they said that they have enough people, they have enough hands on deck with this situation. Obviously, they've been very much like, hey, we appreciate everybody, showing the energy and wanting to contribute, being a part of everything. But at the same time, they're like, yo, guys, we're good. You don't need to show up. We don't need it. Honestly, we don't. Appreciate you guys, but please go sit down. And we got this. And I don't blame them, because that's more people that they have to worry about. If you really think about it, it's more people that they have to worry about, because again, somebody might not be trained enough to do, properly vetted enough to go and experienced enough to go out there to handle this kind of stuff, could get swept away by the water, by the raging water that's out here. I mean, again, we've seen the footage. This water is intense, and they don't want to sit there and lose somebody else. So they're like, listen, we're good. Okay. I get it, civilians. I get you average Joes and you average Janes out there that want to put in the help and put in the time. But at the same time, you ain't got the experience to handle this kind of situation. Please, just, if we need you, we'll call you. Okay. With all due respect. And I mean, shoot, I'm going to say this too, though. Shout out to y'all who want to put in and contribute. Shoot, man. Because I know a lot of other people just sit there and watch from their phones, watch from their TV and go, oh, gosh, oh, God bless their hearts, and do nothing, right? So I commend all y'all who want to go up there, boots strapped and ready to go and get your hands dirty. That's a beautiful thing. But for right now, I think you just need to sit back, wait, and if they need you, they'll call. Trust they will. Let me share this with y'all, too. So this is just sad. This is just sad, y'all. Okay. But law enforcement officer helping conduct search and rescue operations in Central Texas weeps after finding a body of a little girl in the chaos of the post-flood zone near Camp Mystic. And I mean, I'm just showing you like the devastation, right? How bad it is out there, y'all, is even making grown men cry. Sad. So I commend all the men and women that are out there doing all their work right now, putting all the effort and work right now, because there's so many people, including all those kids right now. Real talk. It's tough. This is a tough one.
You have neighborhoods, RV tourist parks, and also camps that are completely destroyed along the Guadalupe River. Families from across the state of Texas, including from North Texas, traveled here to Kerr County as those updates start to come in from the recovery efforts.
First responders spent Saturday searching for the missing, hoping to provide answers to families waiting in agony. Many in town for July 4th weekend were caught off guard by catastrophic flash flooding. More than 24 campers from the all-girls summer camp, Camp Mystic, are still unaccounted for. Saturday, some parents received the devastating news. The families of Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner confirmed to Fox 4 neither survived. Both attended Bradfield Elementary in Highland Park ISD. 9-year-old Janie Hunt of Dallas also died in the flooding, according to her family.
Look at the mattresses. Their mattresses in there. Oh my goodness, and the flag. Look at the flag.
The Dallas family, the Harbors, say they're still holding out hope for 76-year-old Mike Harbor and his wife, 74-year-old Charlene Harbor. Their grandchildren, Brooke and Blair, pictured in the middle, were staying with them at their Hunt home. The family says the two sisters from St. Rita Catholic in Dallas didn't make it out alive. You can see search crews already came through this Kerrville neighborhood. They marked this camper clear with an X. Back behind me, we have the Compost family. They spent all day Saturday cleaning up their home. Thankfully, they got out in the nick of time and they safely got in their truck and went to higher ground.
Y'all, this is gonna be a while till they get everything together, y'all. Like, this is it's bad. Okay. President Trump has been making statements. Just so you know, Andrew's asking, has President Trump made a statement? He's been making a statement. Has he made one recently, like another one? I don't know. Right. I do not know. But at the same time, we're seeing that Governor Greg Abbott is very much in the forefront of everything. Trump has made statements. He made statements even in the air, in Air Force One. So again, I am kind of curious as to who else, other leaders, other elected officials, are they stepping up? Are they speaking out? I am kind of curious about that as well. Right. And I hope that they are. Right. I hope that they're doing whatever they can to help. But I also think that, where are those rescue organizations? Right. Where are they at? This is the time that all hands should be on deck right now. Real talk. All hands on deck should be right now. Right. This is an absolute devastating situation, and it's only going to get worse if they're saying what they're saying. If the water keeps on rising, it's a wrap. It's just going to keep going. If it's raining all day today and it rains throughout the night, then they're saying it could go up to, what did they say? Something along the lines of, 4 to 2 to 4 to 10 inches, that kind of thing. If it continues to get worse, there's going to be other places that are going to get hit, and they're going to get hit hard. So again, I'm hoping that, these organizations like FEMA, Red Cross, shoot, the National Guard, for crying out loud, where they at? I'm hoping that they're down there. Shoot, it needs to be now. Speak now. You know what I'm saying? Like, speak now or forever hold your peace, or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean? They need to be out here. So I'm hoping that actually happens here very, very soon. And, I'm going to say this too. No one's to blame for this situation. It's a natural disaster. That's why they call it a natural disaster. It's what they do afterwards, right? It's what they do after the natural disaster that we look at them and then, of course, we side-eye them, or we have that judgmental eye, like you look at the situation in LA, California, with the fires. We all saw what they were doing and how they were handling the situation in California. That one was interesting. Okay, that was a cluster F, right? So I'm hoping that it doesn't turn into a cluster F here too. You also got to remember, they are still in the wake of this flood right now. Just so you know, the floods aren't done yet. If the rain isn't letting up, and it doesn't let up, this is going to be a long weekend for these people. Okay, for the people in the central Texas area. Okay, because this flood can continue to spread out and cause more casualties, more people missing, and all that stuff. So again, they're still in the mucky muck. Okay, we're literally, if they're saying what is correct, we are still in the beginning of the third act. Okay, for those of y'all that are, for those of you theater nerds, okay? Or you movie nerds. We're still in like the beginning of the third act. So the movie or the play ain't even done yet, y'all. Okay? If what they're predicting is correct, it ain't done yet. So again, now is the time to see what our elected officials do, how they operate, and what they're going to do while this thing is going on. So hopefully they get off their butts and they get to work, right? Fingers crossed, okay? Fingers crossed. But let's continue.
This is video of rushing water from Juan Campos's backyard. The water eventually made it inside his home up to his thigh.
Oh, in 2 minutes, the water right here.
The cabins were smashing against the trees, and the campers were hitting the trees so hard that they were scarring them.
Lorena Guillen owns this now barren RV park in nearby Ingram. Concrete slabs show where cabins were washed away. This is where Joni and Robert Brake were staying for the holiday. Their family from Burleson says they still haven't heard from the couple. Others staying in RVs just 10 feet from the shoreline.
They tried to get to them so hard, but there was no way. There was no way. I mean,
Hold on. I gotta ask this, okay? And maybe you guys know this information a little bit better than me. So I'm gonna ask the question for like the umpteenth millionth time, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but was there a warning sign? Was there any siren that went off? Was there any heads up? Because from the interviews that we've heard, I don't remember hearing anything about anyone saying, you know, a siren went off or we got an alert in our phone or anything of that sort, right? If they had known that this was going to turn into, just so you know, warning, there could be flash flooding in the area. Please leave, etc. Right? There were no sirens, right? No sirens, no phone alerts, right? Okay. Because if I'm correct, that's insane. Okay? Mother-loving diabolical. And tragic as hell. And it angers me, okay? Because there was no heads up, not even a tiny bit of not even a little siren, right? But now they're doing all kinds of things, right? Now they're showing that everyone's getting alerts on their phones and all that now. But this thing just came out of nowhere, right? And then, yeah, that's the other thing too, beach life. You got a point there too. Especially when it comes to phones. Sometimes, they're out there camping, doing their thing. Some people, not even just the fact that the phone coverage is spotty, but there are people out there that don't want to even be on their phones. They want nothing to do with their phones. They're like, I want to get out there and just live off the fat of the land and just live my life. I want to unplug from the world, right? Some people like to do that. So I feel like there needs to be two things: sirens and also phone alerts, right? That's what I think. I think that they need to have both, because you never know. People want to live free, especially when they go and camp. They just want to be with nature, Some people just turn their phones off and put them in a bag, and they're like, I will deal with it later, right? So if there weren't any alerts, that is insane. But if there were alerts, I'm talking about the first initial flood, when the first initial flooding happened, okay? Not after, because that's an afterthought now. I'm talking about in the very beginning. Were there alerts or not? That's one thing I'd like to know for sure. And if it is the case, like that no one got any alerts, then that's just terrifying and tragic. But at the same time, if this is a flash flood, how would they know something like this to happen? This could have just been a freak accident, right? A freak natural disaster. But still, man, it would have been nice if they had a little bit of a heads up. Hold on real quick. Madam, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you telling me and sharing your story with us. That really means a lot. Losing a kid is a nightmare. Lost my son last year. My condolences, seriously. May he rest in peace. My heart aches for these families. Pray for the families. Send them light. RIP little ones. Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. All right. My prayers to every single last one of them. I'm hoping that, some are found, most are found, all, if God willing, are found. And prayers to you and to your son. May you rest in peace. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing that. But let's continue on, guys.
Water at that point had gone up a good 20 feet. And the lower level, all my campers right there, they were already floating away.
And I'm in Kerrville right now, but just the town over, Ingram, that is where the parents of these campers from Camp Mystic, they are now waiting for a second night in agony for the next briefing. So all day we saw choppers overhead, we saw machinery moving debris, and we saw first responders in boats on the Guadalupe River. So it is all hands on deck to find these victims. Casey?
Yeah, Peyton, you mentioned that second night. I can't imagine one night as a parent going to bed not knowing where your kid is, and now these poor people are facing the second night, as you say. I'm just kind of curious. You came to Fox 4, Peyton, from Oklahoma City, so we know that you've covered your fair share of disasters. Personally, how does this stack up compared to the others that you've been to?
I'll talk about it on a geographical standpoint and also emotionally. Sometimes when I cover tornadoes in OKC and also in North Texas, you can see where the tornado touched down in a centralized location, a neighborhood, a city, etc. This devastation is for miles down the Guadalupe River. Hunt, where the camps were, all the way down here to Kerrville and beyond, and that river just keeps flowing. Also emotionally, it was hard to see people today because they really have no information. They know nothing. They do not know where their loved ones are. They do not know where their loved ones were last at. So I think the questions that are in the air tonight are truly telling as we go into day 3 tomorrow, which we will be here for that as well. Hopefully we will have some more answers tomorrow.
I hope we do, have more and more answers here very, very soon. But everything's still, like she was saying, a lot of this stuff is still very much up in the air. Man, it's just crazy that this is even, it's crazy that this even happened, once in a century type of flooding, and it's still going, right? It's still going on. Let's take a look at this.
Rises again following the flooding in Central Texas. 51 people are now confirmed dead, including 15 children. Crews continue working around the clock through flooded out roadways and bridges, trying to find survivors. Governor Greg Abbott maintains this remains a rescue mission, not recovery. Now here's a look at some of the victims in this disaster. Many families mourning their losses as others are awaiting answers. This is what's left of Camp Mystic following the flood early Friday morning. The main road to there is washed out. Some campers, they were actually trapped in muddy bunks, clinging for safety, waiting for rescue. Tonight, we are hearing from a Dallas camper that was rescued from Camp Mystic. Staying on higher ground, she was safe from the floodwaters, yet remains heartbroken for those deeply impacted. She and her mother sat down with NBC5's Katie Blakey.
How are you doing today? I think while it was going on, I kind of felt like a sense of numbness. Saying it out loud is making me realize what actually happened and how bad it actually is.
Just days after being dropped off to start a much anticipated July term at Camp Mystic, 13-year-old Stella is now processing the rains that ravaged the beloved camp and claimed the lives of so many children. Her 6th summer at Mystic, Stella was on the Cypress Lakeside when storms awoke her cabin early Friday morning. On higher ground and out of view of the Guadalupe side, it wasn't until helicopters began buzzing overhead she realized something was truly wrong.
I think it's the uncertainty that really shook up our cabin.
Eventually, they were told campers along the Guadalupe had been evacuated due to flooding, but had no idea the scope of the crisis.
Eventually, when we got that news, we were all like hysterical and praying a lot, and the whole cabin was like really, really terrified, but not for ourselves.
Worried for those on the other side. It wasn't until military trucks arrived to evacuate their camp late Friday did they get a first glimpse of the devastation.
You'd see kayaks like in trees, and it was kind of horrific because we had no idea. Some people saw a couple trunks and just like in the debris. And then there was first responders in the water pulling out like girls, like sheets. I saw someone holding like a cloth from the water, and they were huge.
I've heard a lot of stories about that too, where like bed sheets were, people were just holding on to bed sheets that were just like tangled onto debris, and they were just holding on to that for dear life. I've heard that as well. Yeah, it is. This is just, just terrifying stuff.
Huge trees ripped out of the ground and like their roots. And it didn't look like Camp Mystic anymore.
Their thoughts remain with those grieving and those still waiting.
We are just so happy that she is safe and we are with her and we have her. So we are just grateful to be some of the fortunate ones. So there's a sense of relief and an equal sense of just awareness of that's not everybody's story. And that's just two kind of competing emotions.
Touched by the outpouring of support for the Camp Mystic community.
We hope that all the folks who are still missing loved ones are feeling that outpouring of love.
They are comforted by words often echoed by camp leaders.
A bell is not a bell until you ring it. A song is not a song until you sing it. The love in your heart was not put there to stay. Love is not love until you give it away. It really showed me how much of an impact Camp Mystic has had on our lives and how amazing of a place it is and how horrible it is to see it like this, because that's not Camp Mystic.
In Dallas, Katie Blakey.
Again, I keep wondering, I keep saying this too. I just don't think that I get that there's going to be families that are going to be mad and upset because they've lost their children for sure. So I already feel like a lot of lawsuits are coming for Camp Mystic. If, from what we read in that article, if they're saying that the camp staff should be to blame or should be held accountable for their lack of safety procedures, their lack of trying to save these kids. I just think that lawsuits are coming. I hate to say it like that, but I just feel like, lawsuits are going to be coming to this camp. And I feel like, could this have been prevented? And I know that we'll never really know that answer, but it is something that, I don't think there's anybody to blame on this situation, really. I think this is a natural disaster, and I think that camp did everything that they could to get the kids out as quickly as they could. But then again, like I said, my prayers go out to these families. I understand the grief. I understand the frustration. I totally understand the pain. But hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully that won't be the situation. Let me see if what this update is about. Okay. Hold on, guys. Pull this up here real quick. So yeah, like I said, this is all just crazy and super unexpected. Okay. But let's take a look at this too.
This mentioned is Camp Mystic. It's in Kerr County. Camp Mystic did not evacuate before the floods hit. Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for being here. Tell me for a moment, I know we still have outstanding campers that are missing. Have the families been contacted yet? Have you turned up any?
Now, this is a little old. Obviously, this is from, if I'm correct, yesterday. But let's just take a listen to this.
These girls, I know these families are frantic. In fact, I know one of them.
Yeah, Raymond, let me paint a quick picture for you. there are about 15 camps along the Guadalupe that we were checking yesterday when this all began. And Camp Mystic was the one where we were not able to account for everyone. And now that number is 27. There were 750 campers in just that camp alone. There were several thousand along the river. And the gentleman named Delton, who's the city manager in Kerrville, said he was out jogging at 3:30 in the morning and there wasn't a drop of rain and the river was normal. By the time he showered and got dressed for the morning, suddenly the river rose, as Mike Tobin just said, about 26 to 30 feet in 45 minutes with the power of a freight train running through what was a dry creek, just a rapid pace, destroying everything in its way. So one of the things that Camp Mystic did yesterday is they had the phone numbers of everyone that was at their camp. And so they called those that were missing. They didn't try to call the 750 and say, your daughters are safe. They called, which I thought was very smart, and they called the ones who were missing and said, we are searching for them. So we had a good idea very early of where we were. We surged 400 to 500 people in immediately. Helicopters, we had as many helicopters in the air as we could get safely with drones, because you get too many, you have another disaster in the air. The weather was overcast, even raining yesterday, part of the day. And they rescued, our brave swimmers rescued over 800 people yesterday, many of those by helicopter, but we still are missing 27.
God bless them.
Well, Lieutenant Governor, you have been in our prayers. Thank you for joining. It's always good to see you. Heavy rain on Friday morning.
Hold on real quick. Someone just said, I'm going to pull this up. Where is it? Shirley just said, Pascal, people don't understand that people turn off their cell phones and put them on a charger when they go to bed. So sending an alarm to a cell phone was useless. Yes, I mean, I think that it's both, y'all. I think it's both. I think it's not only just people turning off their phones while they go to bed, because a lot of people do that. Obviously there's the do not disturb feature on there too, but that an alarm or an alert like this, that kind of a warning alarm would have surpassed the do not disturb feature on the phone. But yeah, a lot of people just turn off their phones because they don't want to be connected to the outside world. Some people go camping and they just want to turn things off. Some people do turn off their phones when they go to sleep, so they're not bothered by it in the morning. But then again, there's a lot of people that still use their phone for everything. Their phone is their entertainment. Their phone is their alarm. You know what I mean? Some people have it for their alarm clock. Some people use their phone for not only just to make text messages and make phone calls, right? So again, it still be a mixture of different people. Not everybody has their phone off when they plug it in to charge it, and not everybody turns off their phone to go camping. You know what I mean? So again, I think that it would have been helpful to a certain extent. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it's all lost. Okay, I don't think it's as binary as people are looking at, right? I don't think it's very it's useless or it is useful. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of gray in this situation. I feel like it should have been used. If it wasn't used, then that feature, utilizing the warnings, that I think should have been used, right? And I know that some people are saying, we talked about this yesterday too, where they're saying, hey, the people didn't move or they didn't use it because they were worried about congestion and a lot of craziness in the streets while people trying to drive away, that the roads would be heavily congested and it would have just been a bloodbath in the streets. Well, I mean, I think give people that choice, right? I truly believe we should be giving people that choice. You can stay or you can go. Here's the warning, just so you know. Flooding is coming. You can either stay or you can pack up your stuff and you can go. And I think that should be every person's right, whether to make that decision, whether to stay or to go. You know what I mean? That's just what I think. Okay. Yes, I did get that, Debbie. I appreciate it. I'm getting to it. Okay. One thing at a time. So let us continue on. I want to play a little bit more of this.
Caused the Guadalupe River to rise nearly 30 feet in 45 minutes. Yeah. How wide is the search perimeter, and are enough resources being provided by the local, state, and federal government to assist in the search and rescue?
Yeah, Riley, we are prayer partners. So you know where my heart is. I know where your heart is, and everyone on the panel. This is the time you stand on your rock of faith. This is the time you're tested. We've surged now. There are close to 1,200 people working in shifts, doing everything possible. And the president has put his full weight of the federal government to give us help. Kristi Noem, I talked to her earlier this morning before she came into Kerrville. And so we've gotten all the support we want. We have the best emergency management team in the world, I believe. We have pre-positioned some assets there to help us because we knew rain was coming, but you can never predict exactly where and what. It was over about 150-mile area the storm could have hit. And what happened at 5 o'clock in the morning or so yesterday was the worst possible storm in the worst possible place to the most vulnerable people, adults in campsites and trailers not knowing what hit them, and these girls in these camps. There's a boys camp, girls camp, co-ed camps, but it was Camp Mystic. If I could tell you real quick, I just got a text before I came on air, and we're going to hear these stories more and more from parents who text me. They were bringing their little girl who was spared home, and they asked her what happened. And I'm not using any names, but she said they were awakened, and the water was at the door. The camp counselor took a rock and smashed out the window. They climbed out the window in bare feet and nothing but a nightgown on, in neck-high water. They walked through the water. They got to another position where there was some dry land. Then they moved to another position. She said, I don't know how we made it. She had her name on the back of her clothes she was wearing, but she wasn't even in her own clothes at the time. And so these little girls and these camp counselors, you're going to hear heroic story after heroic story. These camp counselors are teenagers themselves for the most part. And they eventually got to higher ground where a helicopter came and rescued them. We have a story of a 27-year-old young man in one of the houses along the riverbank. He saved his mother, and I believe it was his aunt or grandmother, but he was swept away. There was heroism yesterday everywhere. And these camp counselors, again, 750 girls in this camp, and we have 27 missing, and we're not going to give up looking for them. We're not going to give up looking for them. And we're all in, and we're praying for these families.
I mean, of course, you know, there's still, we're all praying for those families, right? We're all praying for them. Real talk. This is, again, pretty scary stuff and devastating stuff. Now, I got this from my boy T. Thank you so much for the information. This is a post. I don't know where this is from. It looks like it's from on Reddit, but I do want to share this with y'all because, of course, people are posting things basically saying like, hey, please don't come down here. Like I talked to you guys about it before, right? They're saying, hey, we don't need any more help. Thank you so much for coming in, but like, go home. There's things that you could do from home, right? Let's take a look at this, okay? So it says, don't go to Kerrville. This is from a post, okay? An opinion post, I guess. So it says, people, please stop rushing down here or down there to quote unquote help. Unless you have a friend or loved one directly impacted and needs help, everyone else needs to stay home. I've seen so many posts of people rushing down there without thinking it through. What exactly do you think you will accomplish that every government agency cannot? Kerrville is a small town that just went through essentially a war. Hotels are limited. Food and gas need to be available to those who truly need it. All of these well-meaning people converging into the town are just getting in the way. Hundreds of roads are blocked or washed out, and congesting the passable ones are just slowing it down and slowing down the first responders who need to be there. That's a good point there too. I see that point, right? It's like, hey, what about the food, the shelter, the gas? This is all for the people that live in that area, right? More people going down there, you're just consuming and, you know, going off of their rations. I get that as well, right? Also, if you do manage to become a searcher, are you truly prepared for the carnage? And are you honestly familiar enough with the terrain to be an asset? That's another good point. Like I just said earlier, that this is basically echoing, for the most part, what I said. Not everybody is fully vetted to do this kinds of stuff. And then again, if you go out into that water, you think you're, Mr. Outdoorsy or Mrs. Outdoorsy, and then you step in the wrong area or you walk into the raging rivers, you can get swept up and taken out. Let's be real, okay? No one needs hurt or lost people to add to an already horrific situation. There are so many ways to help from afar, and later on, after this initial search and rescue eventually ends, there will be years of opportunity to make an actual difference to this community. So please just think before you make things worse instead of better. It's a good point. It's a good point. It's a solid point there. It's basically echoing what I'm saying, but just a little bit more, a little bit more curt than how I said it. How's that? But like I said, are we surprised? You know what I mean? So, like, are we surprised about people coming out and saying something like that? I totally get it. I agree. Guys, stay back. Sit back, chill, because for a fact when they need you, it will be said. But for right now, let them just cook. Let them cook. Okay, let them just do that thing. I'm going to go over here really quick to Fox.
Now we've got Texas Congressman Chip Roy with us. He represents the district where Kerrville is located and faces extensive destruction from the flash floods. He joins us now. You can see them there. Hi, Congressman. Nice to see you, sir. We're praying for your area. We're praying for your district. I can't imagine the unbelievable tragedy that we've been reporting on all morning. Sir, what should we know so far about the search and rescue efforts? Let's start there.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the prayers. Thanks for everybody across the country who've reached out. It's been overwhelming. The response here in Texas has been extraordinary. People wanting to volunteer, people getting in their cars and just showing up to come down to Kerrville. The search and rescue mission has been extraordinary. Between the state and the locals, we've had about 1,000 additional resources down on the ground on top of the local officials. The local sheriff, the local city manager here have done yeoman's work working through to do this. You pointed out just a minute ago about 850 kids were evacuated and were able to be removed and rescued from the areas. There's 18 camps in that area. Camp Mystic is now pretty well known, but there's a bunch of camps there, 18 of them. One of my law school classmates yesterday was coming here to pick up his daughter. I have other friends and family who have been coming into town to get their kids. My kids are 14 and 15 years old, so kids from their school were here. Several of their schoolmates were in Camp Mystic. We've got friends who are among those girls that are missing, and it's tragic and it's sad. And look, what they're doing on the ground though is really extraordinary. They're still in a search mission. The governor made very clear yesterday this is still a search mission. Now, we all know that as every second goes by, it starts moving towards recovery. But right now, they're still holding out hope and turning over every rock and looking under every tree and trying to find anybody they can. And it's not just the kids, right? There were many, many adults in campgrounds, people, locals. I went into a gas station the other night and a Marine was there at the counter and he said, I lost my Marine buddy. We don't know where he is. Yesterday, I talked to somebody who found a dog up in the tree and they're looking for their friend. So it was an extraordinary event where you had literally 30 feet of water elevation right behind me here in about an hour. So we're going to continue to work through this.
Yes, sir. What can you tell us about your district? What can you tell us about the resolve of residents in Kerr County, Texas?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty extraordinary and tough lot. This is, I always joke on the campaign trail. I don't joke. I always say that it's the best part of the best state and the best country in the history of the world. It's beautiful. There's a reason these 18 camps are here. But it's a strong a group of folks. There's a lot of German heritage in this area. There's a lot of, Tex-Mex influence where cultures come together. Very proud of it, the live music scene. In fact, we were all supposed to be here. My family planned on being here right down on the river behind me where we are every summer for the July 4th celebration with Robert Earl Keen, who's a local favorite, a well-known musician who's from Kerrville. And he's been great. He's been out there posting stuff on social media. Everybody's coming together. I know there'll be benefits. There'll be money raised. People will step up, and we're going to rebuild the area. But right now, we continue to search and pray for those families. You know, I met with the families last night of those who have still not found their little girls from Camp Mystic. It's one of the toughest meetings I've ever had to have. And, you know, Mary Liz Eastland was there, and she was the camp director, and her dad, father-in-law, Dick, he lost his life 48 hours ago getting in a Tahoe trying to grab 3 of those little girls from the camp and get them up to safety. And he was been here for years running that camp. There's stories like that, the heroes that saved lives, camp counselors, another woman who lost her life, who was one of the camp directors, who saved little girls' lives before she perished. You know, the prayers, the church community that's been coming together. I can't put it into words, the number of people, the president of the United States who's reached out to me personally, the secretary of Homeland Security who came here yesterday, the governor who's been here. It's been a team effort. We'll come together. This is Texas. That's what we do.
You know, sir, there'll be a lot of finger pointing and assigning a blame in the coming days. Is there blame to be assigned here? Is that the appropriate conversation?
Yeah, I mean, in classic Washington, D.C. fashion, everybody wants to politicize everything. 48 hours after a flood came through here and ravaged our community, where we're still trying to heal and talk to the parents who have lost loved ones, still try to find little girls, still try to find adults out here. And only in D.C., only in the political world, are they already finger pointing. Look, there's going to be time to go review what can be done differently. What can you do to make sure that people have a earlier alert? But the response is going to be, we've got to move all these camps away. Why would you have camps down here by the water? Well, you have camps by the water because it's by the water. You have camps near the river because it's a beautiful and wonderful place to be. And so I hope that we will have a measured approach. We will go through this in the future, figure out the right approach. Don't point fingers. Maybe there were Democrats that were involved with not doing something. Maybe there were Republicans involved with not doing something. Or maybe, just maybe, when you have 19 federal bureaucrats that you have to talk to as the state of Texas to figure out the weather, maybe you need fewer bureaucrats. I don't know. But we'll figure that out next week or in a month.
I hear the emotion.
Now, why don't we just focus on helping these people?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I agree. I agree with what this guy is saying. Okay, I agree with what he's saying. I'm sorry. Like, instantly, as soon we saw this yesterday, instantly, as soon as this tragedy happened, they're pointing fingers at everybody and they mama, instead of just being like, listen, instead of you asking me questions about who's to blame, instead of politicizing all this, can we just focus on saving these lives real quick? We got 23 to 27 little girls out there that are missing right now. Can we just focus on that? Can we focus our energy on the rescuing and the recovery and the search of these missing people and these missing family members and these loved ones, rather than automatically turning this into a politicized and political thing? It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter about red or blue, Democrat or Republican. It does not matter. We should be reaching across the aisle together. Okay, we should be joining hands in these kinds of situations. This is the thing that really aggravates me, because this is exactly what happened with the fires in California. Yeah, I said it. Okay, I said it then too. Okay, that it automatically became such a political thing. And it's like, yo, why are we not just talking about how are we going to take out the fires, save people, right? How are we going to stop people from drowning, stop people from being missing right now? We need to be focusing on that. Why are we focusing on BS? BS stuff that is, it's nothing. It's nothing. What matters right now is finding these people. Let's stop talking about this other BS. Okay? Let's stop pointing blames at the president. Yes, I said it. Okay. Right now, we need to focus on what's going on. And then after everything is settled, when everyone's recovered, everyone's rescued and found, then you can start figuring out what's wrong, right? Go back and cross every T and dot every I and figure out what can be done to prevent this from happening in the future. But right now, there are floods still happening right now. There's rain still happening out there, y'all. Okay? There could be more floods going on. But everyone's still like pointing at each other as they're going under in water. That's it's stupid, y'all. It's pointless. Let's save these people. Let's rescue these people. And then we can go and figure out how to make things better. I agree with this guy 100% on that part, for sure. Everything does not have to be politicized. My dear God, everyone's going to start politicizing whether they drink whole milk or 1%. I'm being real. Oh my God, you drink skim milk? Oh, I can't be your friend anymore. It's so ridiculous, y'all. We need to figure something out, and we need to figure it out now. Let's get these people home, and let's stop this from happening ever again, right? Let them find a way to give people a heads up so we don't have these issues anymore, okay? These 27 girls should not be out there missing like this. Just saying. And that has nothing to do on who we voted for or who we didn't vote for. Real talk. Like, these kids are gone. This is a natural disaster. Let's find out where they are so they can come home.
I hear the emotion in your voice. Before we go, I just want to offer the opportunity, real quick message. What is your message to your district right now, suffering so badly?
Well, these are wonderful people. We're praying for them. The whole country's praying for them. The president, everybody involved. I've gotten colleagues from both sides of the aisle reaching out from all over the country. And I just want everybody to remember the courage, the heroic sacrifice of those literally who gave their lives to save some of those little girls' lives. Camp counselors, camp directors, Dick Eastland, who ran that camp, Camp Mystic. He's like the third owner over the last 100 years. They're going to celebrate their 100th anniversary next year. And I hope they're open. I hope people stay resolved in figuring out what we can do to make this all work going forward. Too many memories and too much history here for us not to go forward. But just keep praying for all the families involved. And I cannot say enough about the teamwork here, regardless of party, from the president on down, to get this done for the people of Texas.
And sir, we hear the pain in your voice, the pain of your district right now as well. We're praying for everyone there. We're praying that for the search and rescue. We're praying those 27 girls are found. Congressman Shiproy, thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Okay. We're going to continue on, though, because there's much more going on, of course. Hold on real quick, guys. Sorry. And again, I'd appreciate it. Let me get some of these super chats here really quick. I appreciate the support. I really do. Thank you so much. But make sure you hit that like button down below, okay? Please and thank you. Let's just get it. Can we get it to 1.5? Can we get to 1.5K? Helps us get out there, helps people know what's going on. It brings more awareness to what's going on. That would be greatly appreciated, of course. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe if you haven't done that yet, okay? And when you do that, hit that notification bell, set it to all, so you know whenever I'm live, whenever we're uploading stuff, because honestly, a lot of stuff nowadays, it's a lot of breaking news stuff going on, guys. So make sure that notification bell is set to all, okay? Please and thank you. All right. Subscribe, hit that like button, please. All right. Let's take a look. I got a couple super chats real quick, and then we're going to continue on because there's so much more coverage, so much more updates going on here. So Nadia, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. There were two advisories sent overnight. Sorry, guys. Where can I inbox you, mods? If you could put the email address in the chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. Nadia, keep your eye open. They'll be putting it in the chat. Okay. Because I'd like to see those updates as well. Real talk. Sandra, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Look up 1998 flooding along Guadalupe River. 31 had passed. Wow, that's insane. I'll look that up. 1998. Crazy. And now it's surpassed that from 1998. So that's something that's pretty wild. Madam, thank you so much for the love. Everyone should invest in good weather radio, or in a good weather radio. That's not a bad idea, right? Or one of those wind up kind of self-powered kind of radios, so that you just have that just in case ish hits the fan, because natural disasters happen everywhere. It doesn't matter if you live in an area where there's no water like that. Like I said, earthquakes still happen. Tornadoes, hurricanes, natural disasters still do happen for sure. Okay. Carbonize, thank you so much for the love. We all know who's to blame, so there's no point in debating. The vision is a choice. I refuse. All people are my people. The distractions don't matter. The social wars they created don't matter. We do. I agree 110%, baby. 110%. So again, there's so much going on. Let's take a look at this.
Let's head back out to Jordan Elder. She is out in Ingram. Is that right, Jordan? Tell us where you're at and what you're seeing.
We are at the Blue Oak RV Park right now with the owner, Lorena Guillen. As the sun has come up, the devastation here has become so clear. Can you walk us through the night that the flood happened? When did you realize that it was going to be this devastating?
Nobody could have predicted this much devastation. I started seeing the heavy rain around 1 o'clock. By 2:30, I checked the water levels. I went all the way to the edge of the river, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine. And called the sheriff's department. I asked them. They had no information, and I went to bed. And at 3:30, the lights of the rescue team awoke me. And my husband and I ran over here. And the bottom part of my RV, which is the second level, was completely all the way to the waist. I mean, people were trying to get out of their RVs in their underwear with no shoes, nothing besides their pets, and some of them lost their pets too. But by that point, the rescuers were trying to get a family of 5 that were stuck all the way where those trees are.
Colton, can I have you show? They were on kind of an island over here. Is that kind of where the electric poles are now?
Yes, and over there is still the bathrooms. The family of 5 was right there within 10 feet of the water, having a beautiful time the day before. I mean, it was just perfect weather, perfect everything for on the 3rd, and then it just turned. So at 3:30, when we saw the rescue team trying to get them, they had 2 fast boats. They were the right team to get to them, and they couldn't. The waters were rising so much, it was insane. We had about another 20 minutes to get everybody out of here, and they barely were able to grab their belongings, jump into their cars on the upper level, and take off. But 20 minutes later, the water was up a good 40 feet in this area, and it was just, everything was gone. Every single RV and vehicle, it was gone. Got washed away.
Do you have an estimate of how many RVs were in this area?
Yes, I had 28 up here, and I had 5 on the island, and everything is lost. Everything's gone.
Have they started to find where those RVs were ending up?
Yes, there is about half a mile now down the river. There is a wall of about 30 to 40 vehicles all smashed together, and nobody's been able to get to that, but there's a lot in there, and it was just very horrific night. At one point, you can see lights, because it was pitch black. At that time of the night, it was just so black, and you could see the lights of vehicles getting washed off from upriver, and you can hear honking. You couldn't see anything, but you can hear honking, and you can hear the screaming. The cabins next door keep smashing against our trees. You can see the scarring of the trees, and that's where they were hitting. That's how high they were getting flushed.
These were the cars hitting the trees that was pulling the bark off?
Yeah, and the cabins from the RV park next door keep hitting, keep getting smashed against the trees, and they were screaming. I mean, and you couldn't see much, but the screaming was unbearable. And we are one of the luckiest one, because we only have 5 people missing, unfortunately. But I was able to get everybody. I mean, my husband and I were banging on doors, getting everybody out. We had the rescue team here because one of my residents heard them screaming at that, in the middle of the night around 3:30 or something like that.
I mean, this is, but this is, just so you know, as terrifying and as tragic as this is, what she's saying, this is a story that we're hearing a lot, right? Just hearing the absolute pandemonium, the panic, the trying to survive, the hearing other people screaming, etc. Right? I have another story that I'm going to be sharing with you guys here in just a second of a father that basically risked his life to save his children. Again, this is to save his family. Punching out a window, right? So again, this is just so sad, guys. So
And
sad.
he called 911, and that's the only reason why they were here so soon, so fast. And at one point, the manager next door, she came on
Yeah.
running here, said, "We need help too."
Yeah, you could tell, Tammy Gill. I completely agree. I completely agree. Okay, she's still in shock. You can see it. She's clearly traumatized by what happened here. This is scary stuff, y'all. I mean, that goes without question. Okay, that goes without question. With everything that we are seeing, that we're hearing, etc. This is just terrifying stuff. Real talk.
Because they didn't know, and they lost a lot of people. I mean, they had so many missing people at that point, like close to 40 people missing just there, and us 5. That's 45 people in a matter of 1 hour. So it's just incredible. I mean, it's the force of that water was so insane. Nobody could get into it. That my resident, that was the one that called 911, he was trying to get to the family, and all the way to his waist, and debris hitting him, and he was yelling, "Please throw me your baby," and they couldn't, and they got swept away. And we all saw it, and we all heard them.
And the person that was trying to rescue them, what ended up happening to them?
He got out just with his clothes on. He lost his pets as well, and he had just moved in to enjoy the beautiful summer that we were having. The temperature was right. I mean, you have to understand, Kerrville is an amazing community, small town, but on 4th of July, we go all out. And we hadn't been able to because of the drought, so everybody was mindful of the fireworks and things like that. But this 4th of July, it was the perfect weather. I mean, it was going to be in the 80s, 90s, and it had been raining, so everything was kind of wet already. So it was perfect, because we could go crazy with fireworks. So everybody was so happy, and everybody was we're gonna have the best 4th of July ever. Every restaurant had bands playing, everybody, and we were all full. I mean, there were tents camping along the river all the way to New Braunfels. And what happened to them? I mean, there is no way to account for those people. I mean, I just don't know what's going to happen now. I mean, I don't know how, we're going to get past all this. And when everybody asks me, what are you feeling? I'm like, I just want to know what now. Like, I have bills to pay today, not in 3 months. I have a restaurant with employees that they need to work to make a living. You think, 2-3 days off. A lot of my employees live day by day, and so do I.
What's interesting, I never even thought about that, because I've been so, we've been so busy thinking about rescue and getting everybody back, back home and in one piece and alive. Let's not forget all the people that still need to work. Like, yeah, that's some real life ish. Like, what about their responsibilities? They still have, cell phone bills to pay. They still have, things that they got to pay for, right? They still have to make a living. to even just forget the cell phone bill and the electric bill, right? Some people's homes are gone right now. I'm just talking about being able to have food. Just the regular things that you need, food and water, right? Imagine that. Okay. Imagine that being completely just ripped from you. And your whole life being destroyed in just one second, right? In a matter of minutes, house completely gone, or your job completely wiped out, or the area in which you work and live and thrive completely wiped out, right? Scary stuff. So it's going to be more than just getting those people the relief and the help that they need. It's going to be beyond that too. Because eventually, once the dust settles or once the water recedes and it dries up, life has to go back to normal, right? So they're going to have to rebuild. But those things take some time, right? Those things take some time. So again, this is very, very wild. And actually, I'm going to stop that here because, again, I know somebody just asked if there was another press conference. I have yet to see anything about another press conference. Actually, hold on. Yes, there is a press conference. Let's take a look. I'm going to roll it back a little bit, okay? Apparently, the toll has gone up. Let me just roll this back really quick. Hold on. So you guys can see it too. Hold on. There is a press conference. So let's take a look at this. Breaking.
First up today,
this just started about 7 minutes ago. Okay, guys. So there is a new press conference. Let's take a listen to it. Apparently, the toll has gone up. I hope it's not true, but let's see what happens here. Okay, guys.
Sheriff Larry Letha.
Man, oh man.
Y'all ready? Okay. Once again, Larry Letha, Kirk County Sheriff. Again, thank y'all for covering this and helping us get the message out. I'll start first, and then our city manager will go next and give you some information, and then we'll finish with our Kerrville mayor. Okay, what I'm here to do, like I said, is give you all the most current updated information. Please bear in mind these numbers will continue to change. As I'm walking in the door, I'm getting texts. It's going to be like yesterday. I think these numbers will continue to change and increase as time goes on. But like I said, we'll do a good job on keeping you updated. Search and rescue operations continue with a full response from local, state, and national first responders. At present, there's over 400 first responders for more than 20 agencies that are working in Kerr County. We have more than a dozen canine working in and near the river. More than 100 air, water, and ground vehicles are in the field right now working on this search and rescue. As of 9 a.m. this morning, we've recorded 59 deceased in Kerr County. Among those who are deceased, we have 38 adults and 21 children.
59.
18 adults pending identification, and 4 children are also pending identification. At present, there are 11 Camp Mystic campers unaccounted for, along with 1 counselor.
11.
We extend our sincerest condolences and prayers for every single family affected by this tragedy. And we continue to work around the clock and reunite these families. We will continue to our search efforts until everybody is found. Our missing person call center is open, and those reporting missing loved ones can call the number 830-258-1111. I'll repeat one more time, 830-258-1111. Please follow the Kerr County Sheriff's Office and City of Kerrville Facebook for your latest information. At this time, I'll turn it over to our city manager, Dalton Rice.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you all for being here today. Everyone in the community is hurting, and we know many of you are locals or have some local connections here. So please keep everybody in your thoughts as we continue to navigate this very challenging time for our community. Search operations continue. Starting about 0600 this morning, we started putting boots on the ground. We have increased our number of personnel that are navigating the really challenging shores along the bank line, but we are continuing to make progress from west to east as we continue operations. what we really need from y'all is to really help us get the word out. We know that people want to volunteer, but what we're starting to see is personal drones that are flying. With these personal drones that are flying, that is a danger to aircraft, which risks then further operations. So if you could please pass the communication along that we need to keep these personal drones out of the sky. We have drones and assets flying. We want to continue to do that. For volunteers and donations, we do have a phone number, 830-465-4794. We can give you that number after, but if you want to volunteer, if you have donations, please contact that number and they will help get everything out. We have families who need to be reunited, and we are continuously making effort to make sure that our families are reunited. We want to continue to work together with our community. We appreciate everybody here, and we want to make sure that we stay Kerr united. I'm going to let the mayor wants to say a few words, and then I will take a couple questions after the mayor.
Again, thank you for being here. You know, I'm old enough to remember Fred Rogers. And he one time said, during a crisis, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. In Kerrville, those helpers are the city staff, county personnel, state agencies, and federal agencies. The entire Kerrville City Council is on site today. We're doing everything we can. Let me repeat something I said yesterday. In our Emergency Operations Center, it's not a bunch of different teams. It's one team. Our goal is to rescue those in peril and find those who are lost. If you are interested in donating to help those families who've been affected, you can visit the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. They've set up a portal for donations. And I understand our community, our state, and the world have been responding. Thank you. Kerrville's branch of the Salvation Army has been designated as our official partner for volunteer coordination and in-kind donations. They can be reached at a number very similar to what you just heard, 830-465-4797. Also, we have a website for volunteers to register, a different website. It's tcr.communityos.org. It's important to follow the City of Kerrville's Facebook page for updates. If you follow social media and are interested in such things, I may be too old to tell you this, but there is a hashtag. It's hashtag Kerr United. That's what we are. We're united to help those who are grieving and to find those who are lost. And now we'll open up to questions. I cannot answer operational questions, but I'm going to ask the city manager to come back up.
I'm not sure who can answer this, but we just talked with business owners who are very concerned, not only for themselves, but also for employees, about how are they going to pay their mortgage, how are they going to pay their electricity. They've been having people reach out to them about their bills, and they're terrified that in the middle of all this, they're going to get cut off or evicted.
We are working through everything right now. Currently our biggest focus is to making sure that we get families reunited with their loved ones. And so we are not going to stop until we are able to get those families reunited.
Mr. Rice, question for both you and the sheriff. There appears to be a massive operation now in Center Point. Is that where we're seeing bodies recovered at this moment?
We are seeing bodies recovered all over, up and down. So as we make our way east to west, we have the entire pretty much span of operations. We broke it down into grids so we can recover those bodies. So yes, it is a full operation. One more question.
Yeah, well, one of the questions that still hasn't been answered 3 days into this is, despite TEM's warning on July 2nd, July 3rd, that something like this could have happened, that the threat existed, why that information didn't get down to the camps and why they weren't evacuated. Can you answer that now?
That is a great question, but again, we want to make sure that we continue to focus. We still have 11 missing children that we want to get reunited with our families. Until we can get reunited with our families, we are not going to stop. We are not going to stop until we do. So thank you.
Follow-up question, sir. Was any emergency alert given out on the 4th that morning of? Did anyone get?
Sir,
Wow.
there are families who deserve better than that.
Wow. You see that? Wow.
So
wow,
that was
wow,
the
wow.
latest information
Wow.
coming out of
Wow.
Kerr County and the city of Kerrville.
Wow.
But of course,
Hold on.
unfortunately.
I got to roll that back just a little bit.
Can you answer that now?
Hold on.
Why that information?
Hold on. We got to play that last part again. Sorry. He was bizzed.
Been answered 3 days into this is despite TDEM's warning on July 2nd, July 3rd that something like this could have happened, that the threat existed. Why that information didn't get down to the camps and why they weren't evacuated. Can you answer that now?
That is a great question, but again, we want to make sure that we continue to focus. We still have 11 missing children that we want to get reunited with our families. Until we can get reunited with our families, we are not going to stop. We are not going to stop until we do. So thank you.
Yeah, he wasn't having that. That's crazy. So again, they're sitting there going, "Hey, warnings." Let me hear this reporter one more time.
Question, sir. Was any emergency alert given out on the 4th that morning of? Did anyone get?
Sir, there
any
are
alert?
families who deserve better than that.
So that was the
Interesting, right? It is a good question. I agree. I think it's a good question. You know, we the people of Kerrville and the surrounding areas, all the other counties, etc. They all need some transparency here, right? They all need some explanation of what actually happened here, right? But at the same time, they can only dodge that question for so long. They can only dodge that question for so long until somebody actually has to step up and actually say, okay, this is what happened. This is what we didn't do. This is what we need to do better for next time, right? Because again, this is something that I think that there could have been more of a heads up, in regards to this. So again, that is just, yeah, he was not willing to answer that question. Damn. He said, we need to find these girls. When we find these girls, then we'll talk about that. It's like, oh, okay. All right, then. Thank you. Bye. And it's like, you don't run out. Just answer the question. Okay, we messed up. Or, yeah, this is what should have been done. It didn't happen. Okay, we'll make sure that it doesn't ever happen again, blah, blah, blah. Or, I get it. Also, at the same time, it's almost as if they don't want to say that because they don't want to admit blame or take any accountability, because then next thing you know, families and et cetera. I mean, let's be real. There could be people stepping forward, and they could be a whirlwind of issues, legally speaking, in the future as well. So I don't know. That is just a very interesting response to all of this. Now, I do want to share this with you guys because this is a very sad situation, and there's so many people, so many heroes. Not all of them are wearing, first responder uniforms and all of that. Okay. There is a story here that I do want to share with you guys, and it is just tragic. Has to do with a father. Okay. He passed away. He tragically passed away after severing an artery in his arm while trying to punch out a window to help his family escape from their flooding home amid the ongoing catastrophic flood. So a father went out of his way to use his fists and lost his life from severing an artery from trying to punch out a window so that he can get his kids and his family out alive. That is just scary, right? And so tragic. But let's take a look at this. All right. So again, this is from Raw Alerts, but they're saying for those who are asking, yes, the family did make it out. However, their 27-year-old father tragically did not survive. He lost his life trying to save them. Here's a photo of the father who made the ultimate sacrifice alongside the family he gave everything to protect. I mean, and this is, I'm telling you right now, this is not the only story we're going to hear. There's going to be many, many other people, many other fathers, many other mothers, many other people, even just random people that are just trying to save people, getting swept away by the water, just trying to be heroic, just trying to do everything they can to help. We're going to hear stories like this a lot. We are. And this is just so, T, it's beyond heartbreaking, you know? Absolutely heartbreaking. Real quick, Elizabeth, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you being a member for the past 13 months. I'd use the clap noise, but I don't know. After hearing that just kind of hurts my heart a little bit. But of course, I'm more than happy to give you guys the updates about this flood. It is an honor to cover the story. Again, this is just so sad. And we're, the more and more we're going to be hearing more tragic stories like this. I'm telling you right now. Let me just say this here really quick so I don't forget. 59 dead. 59. We have 11 kids, little girls, still missing. So in other words, if I have this correct, remember, it was about 23 to 27 girls from Camp Mystic that were missing. I think those kids were found, or some of those kids were found. Some of those kids are now being added to this toll. Okay? I just want to make that abundantly clear. But allegedly, they're saying 11 kids are still missing out there that are still not accounted for. So again, we have that. But 59 souls are gone, with 11 kids still missing. Just so you guys know, just to make that abundantly clear. And I have a feeling that the number is going to continue to go up, because you got to remember, there are still people, aside from those girls from Camp Mystic, there are still families that are trying to find their loved ones that haven't made the news, right? And et cetera. We were just hearing about that woman that was talking about how people were trying to get through the water to get to a family that was stuck on an island area, holding their baby, and they're sitting there going, throw the baby to us, and they weren't able to do it, and then they were washed over by the raging waters of this flood. I mean, we are going to be hearing a lot of those kinds of stories, y'all. And that is just a terrifying thing. But there are a lot of people, a lot of heroes, fathers, mothers, loved ones, just random people trying to do the right thing, do the heroic thing, which is trying to help preserve life. There's a lot of people that are losing their lives because of this situation. And like I said, this is not the only story. This is not the only story. I guarantee you there will be more. But, yeah. These are tough shows, guys. These are definitely tough shows. One thing I still want to know, and obviously we're seeing from the news, from the reporters, they want to know, why wasn't there any updates? Why wasn't there any a siren or something of that sort, letting everybody know? Now, we've already talked about the possibility of people turning off the phones or shoddy kind of cell phone service. But at the same time, if you really think about the sirens could do something, right? That could at least give somebody or people a heads up on what's going on and letting people know, hey, kick rocks, right? Get out of here as soon as possible, right? Again, yeah. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. And of course, I know that the news, local news is going to want to know, they're going to want to get that information. Please explain to us why that, the alert didn't go off. And I want to know that too. But at least for right now, and it would have been nice for them to just kind of be like, hey, since given the fact that they've been asking this question over and over and over again, by the way, they've been asking this a lot. Every time that they have a press conference, they keep asking this question: why wasn't there any kind of alert? Why wasn't there any kind of heads up? Now, I get that. I 100% want to know why as well, right? And hopefully they take accountability, realize what the mistake was made, where the mistakes were made, and they fix it for the next time, because it's not like there's not going to be other flash floods, right? I just hope to God it won't be as catastrophic to the biblical size that it was over the past few days. And we're still in the middle of it right now, right? So again, like I said, yeah, they need to take accountability, or at least address that situation. But what also needs to be done is finding these people, right? I think that's the first and foremost thing for sure. I agree. Let's get people home. Let's get people to safety, okay? And figure out where they're going to plant their roots again with a new home, right? That's what needs to be done right now. That's what I truly think. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. But again, guys, this is the kind of stuff that hurts, because there are a lot of people that are just, there's a lot of devastation on so many different levels, from loss of life to loss of home, occupation, environment. It's a lot. I'm praying for everybody out there. And I'm telling you guys, when there's more updates, I will let you guys know about those things in the next live show for sure. Okay. Because this is still ongoing, and it looks like they're saying it could be rainings throughout the rest of today. So especially in the central Texas area. So it could get worse before it gets any better. I'm hoping that it just slows down and we get more people. We are able to rescue rather than recover more people, but we'll see what happens. And I'm praying for the 11 kids, the 11 girls that are still unaccounted for right now as we speak. But we'll see what happens though, guys. We'll see what happens. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm going to see if there's any, good organizations or places you guys can go contribute, if there's water, food, any, financial contributions, that kind of thing. I'll be looking into that in a little while for sure. Okay, guys? But for those of y'all who are in Texas right now dealing with this, I'm praying for you guys. Stay out of the harm's way, please, if you can. I'm praying for you guys. Real talk. My heart goes out to all y'all in Central Texas. This is a tough time, okay? But please do me a favor on your way out. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. Please and thank you, okay? And if you are watching on those other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button or that like button, whatever you need to do for those respective platforms. Hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay? But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there. And I'll have another update with you guys a little bit later on this evening, okay? Stay up, guys. Stay dry. We'll talk here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.